everyone, hope you're doing well. So hopefully by this time you've watched the 2 videos that are posted on APA style. We're not going to do a lecture on chapter 14 because this of course is your 3rd video for this week. But I want you to really pay attention to chapter 15 because we're talking about APA documentation. We don't use MLA in this setting, but we use APA and we have to use it well. And I'm just going to go over the basics here. If you've already watched the 2 videos that I described that are in the course content, then this is not going to be super challenging for you because you've already learned a lot of this. All right, section 1, so formatting your research paper. So these are the learning objectives. So just understanding the components of APA style and applying general APA style to your research paper. So this goes over what APA style and MLA style is. APA is, of course, the American Psychological Association. It's used in sciences, including social studies, and of course in healthcare, which is what we're, of course, going to school for. So here's some major academic styles that are used. APA is the main thing in healthcare. And the cool thing is, and I'm sure you're aware of this, you can actually pull data from APA online. So if you just type in APA style, there's all kinds of handbooks that come out, and it tries to make it as simple as possible for you to gather the information you need and put it in the right format. Here are the main components of the APA style. You have to have a title page, abstract, the body, and then your reference page. And I'll give you an example of this here in a little bit, but those are the 3 sections that you're required to have in an APA style paper. It's in the title page of your paper. Just go over it, and I'm going to show you an example. I think it's easier to understand if you have an example in front of you, so more to come here. The abstract. So the abstract is a general description of what your paper is about. So you're going to take the abstract and you're going to write it after you write your full paper. So it's an abstract that someone can look at and not have to read your full paper and understand what your paper is about. You're not going to have every little detail in there, but it's a good summary. A little more information about formatting. The cool thing about formatting is you have saved Word documents that you can use and copy and paste your material into. So don't look at this and get overwhelmed like you have to figure out how to set it all up in Word. You can find this information on a Word document, and I'm able to help you with that, so it's not as difficult. So there's some things we got to remember. Headings, use title case. Subsection headings, use left aligned boldface type. Headings are important because there's certain levels of headings, and we'll go over that in the near future too. Talking about with headings, there's a level 1 heading, level 2 heading, level 3 heading, level 4 heading. So you move on to each level of heading depending on what you're talking about. So if you're talking about heart disease, this is a great example. Lifestyle factors that reduce heart disease would be level 2. So level 1 is your basic topic. Level 2 is a subtopic in that topic. And level 3 is another subtopic of that topic. So, aerobic exercise, as an example, country line dancing would be the next topic. It would be really hard to go to a level 5 heading, but it can be done in some big research papers. Make sure you paraphrase and quote. We're going to talk about in-text citations. That's an important part of this, and you probably saw that in the 2 videos that I posted from Purdue OWL. But make sure you're aware of in-text citations and how to cite properly. In-text citations have the information in the body of the paper, but if you look at the reference section, the references are also there to help you stay in touch with making sure that you're not plagiarizing. We're not going to go through the takeaways, but I'm going to show you something really cool here in a minute that I think will be helpful for you to understand the format and how APA is used to help us all. So citing, of course, you want to use citing from the basis of APA. Make sure you use quotations if needed, but you're not going to quote everything. Most of the time you're going to summarize your material. So when you summarize, you're going to use in-text citations, which will include the author, last name, and the date. However, 2 or more authors or 3 or more authors, you're going to use ETAL. 2, you're just going to type the last name of each of them, and I'll show you how to do that in the near future. We're not going to talk about block quotation, but this is going to talk about referencing techniques from the purpose of understanding how to have strong verbs. You can look over this on your own time as well. some other just tools by Flat World to help you understand how to reference appropriately. More referencing techniques here we're not going to go through. But here's some cool key takeaways. So make sure in-text citations include the name of the authors. Now, however, if you have 3 or more, you're going to use ETAL. So it's not going to always be listing all authors' names, because some research papers can have 10 to 15, maybe even 20 authors, and that would take up the entirety of your paper if you listed them in an in-text citation. So we'll go over how to do that in the near future. You can go over creating a reference section on your own time. I'm not going to do that. And then when you hit the MLA section, section 4, don't worry about moving and understanding MLA. That's not something we're going to use in this course. That's actually not something you will use in healthcare. You can do it for your own understanding, but at slide 39, feel free to stop and not continue reviewing. There could be some homework questions about MLA, but if there is, just reach out to me. I'm happy to give you that credit back, because that's not something we'll use in the future. I'm going to transition on and not use the 6th edition paper because we're on 7th edition, and I'm going to give you a good example. So your 7th edition paper is located, of course, in the course content. So let me open that up. My view is going to look a little bit different than yours. So this is how your paper should look from APA Styles perspective. We talked about your title page, which is listed here. So the name, of course, your name of your paper, your name, and then information about your class, also where you're going to school and who you're submitting it to. But this is what APA Style looks like. See, here is an in-text citation that I'm highlighting. So when you're summarizing material from another paper, you want to have an in-text citation which includes the author's last name and the date. And as you can tell by this in-text citation, it is really interesting because there's only 2 authors. So that's how you list them. If there's more than 3 or more, then you're going to list ETAL. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. So if you see down here, this is what APA Style looks like with 3 or more authors. You can see, as we talked about already, the headers. So you have level 1, level 2 headings, and more information therein. But this is what you can use to copy and paste your material, because of course this is in APA format. I really like the fact as well that you're able to find information in here from the perspective of how references should look. So reference should be hanging in format. You should have the DOI if you can find it, and then more information about DOI in the future, but that's usually found inside the actual article itself. And if not, you're going to use the URL. But if you can't find DOI, I sometimes leave the URL out. I'm not going to take points away for that. So this is a little bit more information about how we cite references. Let me show you where to find it, as you probably already aware, because we looked at it in another video. Of course, Google Scholar, really helpful. We talked about this already. If you want to cite, like we talked about with hanging in format, you're going to just hit the Cite button based on an article that you find, copy and paste it into your material, and there you go. Sometimes this is APA 6th edition. We're going to go over 7th edition changes next week, so keep that in mind. You have to watch and make sure the formatting is correct, but otherwise, it's really simple. That's all I had for this week's content. As I said, there's other videos that you need to watch, but if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I appreciate all your efforts, and I look forward to some great papers.